What is going on, NFL fans? Welcome to Bleacher Report. I'm Josh Taylor. If you are a fan of the Washington Commanders, you see me covering the team over on that side of Bleacher Report, doing content, talking about the Commanders. But today I'm going league-wide, just like for the free agency period going on right now. It happens so fast. This legal tampering period really kicks things off every single year now. And I'm going league-wide, just talking about the biggest signings so far in free agency. And I have my phone handy. We are ready to go. And matter of fact, as we go live, Jameis Winston has agreed to a one-year deal worth up to $8.7 million with the Browns. So surprising. The Browns get Jameis Winston per our own Jordan Schultz. Shout out to Jordan. Been absolutely killing it so far this free agency period, and he hits us with another banger as the stream starts. So we start out with breaking news already. Jameis Winston eating some dubs over there with the Browns. 1 year, $8.7 million. Doesn't sound like Flacco is going to be coming back, but still somewhat of an option for the Browns if Watson can't stay healthy. So let's take a look. I'm going to bring up the top 101 free agents so far according to NFL Network, just kind of basing off of, who's been signed so far. And another one, Mike Gesicki is signing a one-year deal with the Cincinnati Bengals for $3.25 per Adam Schefter. So that's back-to-back news. Let's hit it. Let's go, guys. Let's see, because this stuff doesn't slow down. This is the NFL. Welcome to the league. Let me share my screen right here for y'all. Just break down. I'm gonna go through the positions. Obviously, the biggest one yesterday, and as a Washington fan, I absolutely love Kirk Cousins. I do. The whole you like that game and everything. I have a soft spot in my heart for Kirk Cousins. Always will. Loved him on the documentary Quarterback on Netflix. Great show. I've watched it plenty of times. Kirk Cousins tore his Achilles last year. Broke my heart, terribly. Felt bad for the guy. It felt like things were going in the right direction for the Vikings. It felt like the Vikings, defense was playing much better. Everything, Justin Jefferson was a little bit banged up too, but everything was kind of going in the right direction for the Vikings. It seemed like all was well, and then Kirk Cousins gets hurt, everything, and then it's been speculation. What's going to happen with Kirk? Where does he go? And it seemed like from the jump, the Falcons was the top spot. It sounded like the Vikings really wanted him to come back, but deep down, they knew it wasn't going to happen. The league was on standby yesterday, waiting for the Kirk Cousins news to break for other signings to happen, which is crazy to me. And Kirk Cousins is the free agent finesser of the century. If his contract plays out, which is a 4-year, $180 million contract, which includes $100 million guaranteed. My boy Kirk got $100 million guaranteed. That's crazy. He's going to be close to $500 million in total career earnings if he plays out this whole contract. That's crazy. Like I said, it just felt like it was going to happen. Did the Vikings want to pay that? I don't think so. That's a lot. That's some groundbreaking stuff. Fanman Skull says Cousins leaving the Vikings was great for both sides. That contract was terrible for Atlanta. Great for Cousins. It is bad for Atlanta, the contract. Of course it is. But it also puts Atlanta in a situation that they haven't been in. Like I said, I'm a Washington fan. It seems like every year it's like, oh, they're quarterback away. I think Atlanta's in that same boat of being just a quarterback away. And I think Kirk Cousins is going to be great out there with Coach Morris. I think obviously that division is winnable. You've got the Bucs, the Panthers, and then the Saints. So maybe the Bucs are the one that's giving you a run for your money. But I think right now, NFC South belongs to the Falcons. Obviously, still a little early. We still have some, free agency stuff. Then we have the whole entire draft to take care of. But this puts Atlanta in a great position. I'm not going to go into the draft stuff, but, having a high pick the way they do, not having to worry about the quarterback situation. Maybe it is a Dallas Turner. They need to add some wide receiver help to that room as well to help out like Drake London. Obviously, Pitts is huge. Having him, Kirk Cousins loves his number one wide receiver option, and he loves his tight ends. You saw that with TJ Hawkinson. So this is a big win for Kyle Pitts, but Atlanta definitely landing Kirk Cousins helps them out. And now it's just like this is their window. You have to win the South. get to the playoffs, make that run, Kirk, and show that you're worth that money. So obviously that's the biggest, in my opinion, signing of the day yesterday. $180 million contract. Jacoby Brissett goes to the Patriots again. Seems like he's been all around the league. He's going back to the Patriots. Once again, shout out to Jacoby as a Washington fan. Really appreciate Jacoby. Really nice guy. Then the Bucs. Talk about quarterbacks. Talk about the NFC South. The Bucs said we were going to run it back. We got Winfield on the tag. We got Mike Evans coming back. Things are looking good. We're bringing back Baker. Baker got paid. I think, in my opinion, it's a lot, but for the market, it's reasonable for the Bucs and it's reasonable for Baker Mayfield. 29 years old, high draft pick. Like he had all the escalades. Like he had everything. Now it's like, can he actually play well in Tampa Bay? And it seemed like it. Like it seemed like this is the spot for him. Tampa Bay said, "Look, we don't want to go anywhere else. Baker, we want you back, man." Re-signing 3-year, $100 million guarantee, which is a $40 million guaranteed signing bonus and a max value of $115 million per Ian Rapp and Tom Pelissero. Once again, like I said, big. Didn't look too good against the Lions, but you made it to the playoffs. Things were going good for Bucs. They have potential. They got some really good young defensive guys I like a lot, especially on that line. They could cook some stuff up, but now you've got to beat the Falcons. Ryan Tannehill is still out there. And then, of course, Russell Wilson was one of the first things that really happened. Obviously, the Broncos are still paying Russell Wilson a lot of money, which is great for the Steelers because they got Russell Wilson for nothing. And you can say what you want and you can call me wrong, but I'm telling you guys, Russell Wilson didn't look bad last year. For the situation he was in with the Broncos, everything that we learned about what they were asking him to do, to change his contract as they go on this winning stretch, start playing some really good ball. He's making some really good throws. He had some like crazy throws to Sutton and Judy. And I'm just like, I think Russell Wilson in the right situation. Well, he looked like the Seahawks, Russell. No, I'm not saying the Steelers are going to the Super Bowl, but I'm just saying you're getting Russell Wilson for literally nothing. It was like 1.25 mil or something like that. It's nothing. And like Kenny Pickett's not it. If you're a Steelers fan, I'm sorry. Like that whole draft was terrible. Like I said, we got Sam Howell in the 5th. I like Howell. But we knew from the get-go that quarterback draft was terrible. And Kenny Pickett was the first guy taken, the only guy in the first round. It just doesn't seem like things are going to go well with Kenny Pickett. Russell Wilson had a great meeting with Coach Tomlin. I love Tomlin. He's one of my favorite guys when I go to the Senior Bowl to just look and how he interacts and talk to him. Tomlin's one of my favorite guys. Aside from my team, he's one of my favorite head coaches in the league. So it sounds like Russ and Tomlin really just connected, not only just on like a football level, but just a straight up personality level. That's big. Like people talk about the sports side of it, the talent side of it, the financial side of things. But I think it's important, like, to just remember, like, these are people. And when you connect with people, you win together. You have more of that team culture. And obviously Pittsburgh Steelers, storied franchise, big name. Like you have to get back to winning ways. And I'm not saying they're, losing ways because Mike Tomlin's, one of the most winning head coaches in the league right now. And it's just, you got to get back to that, the playoff runs, the just demanding respect. The defense has looked great the last few years. It's just the offense has really let them down. Like the post Big Ben era. Like you need to get back to how things were. I think they have a lot of really good pieces, and I think adding Russell Wilson helps. Is it the final? No, I think Deontay Johnson could be on the move. I think there's still a couple other things that the Steelers have to do, especially on offense. I don't think they're done yet, but getting Russell Wilson for pretty much nothing because the Broncos are paying him like everything still is huge. And like I said, Jameis Winston literally just got signed by the Browns, started the stream out with that, so that's not updated. Gardner Minshew goes to the Raiders, which is interesting because, obviously they're one of those teams in that middle pack right there with like the Broncos, draft-wise of like, hey, we need a quarterback, but we're not really in range unless we're going like maybe JJ McCarthy, Bo Nix, Michael Penix. But we're gonna go out there and we're gonna get Gardner Minshew with his RV. A 2-year, $25 million deal, 15 mil guarantee. That's a good little bit. That is a potential starting salary if things don't work out for you the way you want it to in the draft. Not saying Gardner Minshew is like the starter, but he's shown that he can play. So he did it last year with the Colts, having Anthony Richardson be the rookie. He's there. Obviously, Richardson gets hurt, whatever. Gardner Minshew's in. Shout out to Gardner Minshew, like putting on for us mustache guys out here, man. Obviously, I will never be on that level when it comes to a mustache, but respect the game. I like this for him. I think he fits that culture really well with the Raiders locker room. I just want to see him and Max Crosby in the locker room together and see how that meshes up. Tyrod Taylor goes to the Jets to back up Aaron Rodgers. Shout out to Tyrod, Virginia boy. And then, of course, this is the new theme, guys. You're going to see this with the running backs. This is something that would never happen back in the day, and I know it's a hot talking point. Tiki Barber, one of these guys, like I said, this era, you never played for your in-division rivals. Like I said, I'm passionate about the NFC East. I never want any of my guys going somewhere else. When we got Deshaun Jackson, I was hyped. I was absolutely hyped. But against Tiki Barber's demands, I'll say, Saquon Barkley's headed to the Philadelphia Eagles on a 3-year, $37.75 million contract. And like this is just the most, Eagles move, the most Howie Roseman move that could have been made in free agency. We knew it was coming. It had Swift last year. He's just let me just pick off who I can in free agency, or I can trade, or whoever, or I'm gonna steal somebody in the draft, whatever. That's just what Howie does. Does this worry me? No. I think on paper the Eagles are loaded. I think they're stacked. And I like their team. I love Jalen Hurts. I'm a giant Jalen Hurts fan. I love Smitty. I'm an Alabama fan. Surprisingly, I like AJ Brown, even though he kills my team every year. But I'm still concerned with what I saw from the Eagles last year. It was not pretty, especially on defense. That has to be addressed. And this is just my opinion. I don't think Nick Sirianni is a winning coach at all. I don't trust. If I'm an Eagles fan, I do not trust Sirianni to take me back to the Super Bowl. Don't trust it. I think he got, I don't want to say lucky, but I just want to say that team has so much talent. Like it deserved to be in the Super Bowl that year. I think they should have won. They could have won. It was there. Like I said, I'm not going to have any hatred towards them just because I'm a Washington guy. I'm not going to. I like the move for him. Like if you're a fan, be excited. Saquon's back in PA. The best in PA, stay in PA is what they always say. So you should be excited if you're an Eagles fan, but at the same time, you were still concerned with what the product you saw on the field was last year, especially on defense. It was ugly. It was bad. The league is also waiting on Derrick Henry. That's my king. To see where he goes. It sounds like a couple people, Justine Anderson, Diana Rossini has kind of talked about it. It sounds like the Ravens are in discussion with them. I've heard Dallas might be in the mix as well. Maybe the Texans could be in the mix. They're looking for a running back as well. But nothing official yet. Still waiting on Derrick Henry. And then Josh Jacobs, the domino of all dominoes for the Packers and the rest of the NFC North, essentially, as we learned this morning. Josh Jacobs, another one of my guys I like. Shout out to Josh Jacobs, Roll Tide, is headed to Green Bay. And I actually really like this move. I love this move for Green Bay. I like this for Love. I love this for Love. I think Josh Jacobs is one of those guys that has been consistent, just one of these underdog guys, even back to Alabama. Just an underrated guy in such a loaded running back room. And he's just really showed the league, like, look, this is who I am. I love how hard he runs. I love how he plays. 4-year, $48 million deal with Green Bay. And, of course, like I said, this really was the domino. We thought we were getting Josh Jacobs and Aaron Jones. But no, that didn't happen, as you'll see here in a second. But Green Bay released Aaron Jones, the end of literally an era. Like, I don't know what it's going to look like seeing Aaron Jones played for somebody else. Shout out to Aaron Jones, like one of my dynasty, my fantasy guys all the time, whether it's in Madden or the game, like when I'm doing my fantasy draft, or fantasy football, like in my leagues. Love Aaron Jones. Like he's always been one of my guys. Tony Pollard is headed to the Titans. Like we said, it was already, is known Derrick Henry was not coming back. It's not going to happen. So they go with the Tony Pollard route. Do I like this? 3-year, $24 million is a little bit of a stretch, but he's productive. Like I said, I see this guy. Last year wasn't the prettiest, but he's been productive the last few years. He can be explosive in that offense. They need some playmaking. I like Tyjae Spears a lot. I loved when he was coming out of the draft. We saw some good flashes out of him. I like it a lot. Ashburn Syndrome says Jacobs in Green Bay is just weird. Absolutely. Like I said, this league year is really going to, like I said, with Madden, when you do the fantasy draft, and you just see like, oh, this team has like all these random players on it. That's what the league's going to look like this year, guys. Get ready. It's going to be crazy. But Tony Pollard to the Titans. Like I said, Aaron Jones was let go by Green Bay. And he heads to the Vikings. Like, okay, crazy. Like I said, I never would expect this much of, players going from one rival to another. It's just, I don't know, it's crazy. But still, Aaron Jones showed you that he's got some juice, as it says there. Of course, kill the Cowboys. When he was healthy last year, Aaron Jones was a menace. So hopefully he can stay healthy for the whole year. It's a 1-year, $7 million deal. Like, that's great. Love that for the Vikings. I think it's a good fit. They obviously needed a running back. Like, I was like, is Ty Chandler about to be the starter? I don't know. Maybe they draft one. But league-wide, this is something I've been hearing since the Senior Bowl. And the combine was talked about. It's, kind of being reiterated now. League-wide, teams do not like this running back class. Now, next year is like life-changing. They have, it's probably one of the best running back draft classes of all time, like potentially, if everyone comes out. But this year, you're not going to get those guys in the first round like Robinson or Gibbs. You probably won't see a running back, get drafted till early third, like a Trey Benson or Bucky Irving or Brooks. But you probably won't see a running back taken until like the early third. So it's no surprise to me that teams were this aggressive in the running back market, all these running backs. And I don't think it's done yet either. Swift goes to the Bears, 3-year, $24 million deal. Once again, can he get back to that magical, Swift that he was in Detroit? It seems like he showed flashes with the Eagles, and then they would just stop running them. Like, I don't know. It's just, I saw some good things out of him in Philly last year, but then there's other games like, where's Swift? like, why is he not running the ball this game? So, I mean, I like it. I like it for the Bears. They had Khalil Herbert. I like Roschon Johnson. I don't know if they do. But still interesting fit. A 3-year, $24 million. I don't hate it. It's not crazy. But you're possibly more than likely having Caleb Williams. So having another weapon, why not? Add as much as you can. And then, like I said, my Washington Commanders assigned Austin Eckler, and I didn't know how to feel about this at first. But I will say, when Austin Eckler is healthy and he is on, he's great. He's one of the most productive running backs in the last 5-6 years. Just a touchdown machine. Crazy amount of production out of him. And, of course, we're probably going to be having a rookie quarterback as well, with the number 2 overall pick. Having a guy like Eckler who can catch a lot of passes, but then also can just really help you out in the running game. Obviously, Anthony Lynn is the running game coordinator now. He was the head coach with the Chargers with Austin Eckler. So they have that connection. It's just a great safety blanket and a weapon for a rookie quarterback. And then also with Cliff Kingsbury's offense, like how he wants to spread things out, the run-friendly air raid is what we're going to call it. I think it fits well. You got B-Rob, wearing down defenses physically, and he's shown that he can, make some big plays in the receiving game as well. But then you have Eckler, who's kind of a change of pace. He's not like some track speed like Devon Chain or Keaton Mitchell or anything like that. but a change of pace where he's going to get out in space. He's going to do his cuts. He's going to make some guys miss. And he's strong. He's like a short, stocky, stronger guy who has some burst to him. So I like it. A lot of our fans absolutely hate it. But essentially, when it comes down to his contract, this is a 2-year deal worth up to $11.43. Essentially, like there's an out for next year. It's like a 1-year, $5 million. Like, give me that all day. Shouldn't hate it. J.K. Dobbins, obviously needs to stay healthy. He's still out there. Devin Singletary goes to the Giants, so they have their Saquon replacement essentially. Signing with the New York Giants. I mean, I like this fit for them as well. I don't hate that they lost Saquon, but I still got to deal with them in the NFC East. But I think Giants fans should be mad that they, lost Saquon. But Singletary is a good little pickup for him as well. Receiver-wise, this is where it's like, well, what's going on? Obviously, we had the Mike Evans. Michael Pittman Jr. got paid. And it's just like, okay, we're waiting on some of these dominoes to fall because this receiving class in the draft is ridiculous. It is super deep. You're getting starters like in the 3rd, 4th round. Like you're getting, and I'm not saying like wide receiver ones, maybe some wide receivers too. Maybe some inline guys, some slot guys, whatever. But this is like a phenomenal receiver class. So free agency period, we figured it was going to be a little bit slow, but we had those big names. Like I said, Mike Evans, Michael Pittman Jr. coming back. Where does Calvin Ridley go? That's a great question. Could he go to, the Panthers obviously need one. I don't know. Maybe the Chiefs spend their money and then still draft another one. Like you have Rashee Rice, you could have Calvin Ridley and then maybe draft another one. I don't know. He's only 29. I think Calvin Ridley is still like a really good wide receiver. I think he had a better year last year than people gave him account for. And I'm not saying this because he played at Alabama. But I think there was just a lot of missed opportunities with the Jaguars last year. And it's just, I think he has the opportunity to go somewhere and tear it up this year. KT525 says Ridley needs to link with Levis. That'd be great. Is Levis going to be starting quarterback next year? I don't know. If it is, buckle up, Tennessee. But I think that's a good fit. Like, I think, obviously Tennessee needs some wide receiver help as well. Ridley would fit great there. Give them an immediate weapon. They need offensive weapons everywhere. Like from tight end to wide receiver, they need some offensive line help. Titans, I'm sorry, y'all. I don't have much positive to say for y'all. But I really like Ridley as an option is for a team out there. Hollywood Brown, I think this is a guy that could have like a 2-year deal somewhere. He's only 27 years old. Really good receiving threat. Looking forward to that. I think Washington could be on the mix for him. Obviously, Cliff Kingsbury has that connection with them. Okay, breaking news. This one's kind of we're talking about running backs. The Bengals are trading Joe Mixon. We thought they were going to release him, but they're not. Joe Mixon is being traded to the Houston Texans. Like I said earlier in the stream, the Texans have been aggressive in the running back market leading up to now. And it sounds like they find theirs, which I love that. I love this fit. I like the Texans. I'm down here in Austin, Texas. Obviously, don't pull for the Cowboys, but I'm a Houston Texans supporter. I'm not a fan. Like I said, I'm a Washington fan. I'm true. But I'm a Texans supporter. I love CJ Stroud. I love what they have cooking. I was pulling for them in the playoffs. I think there's a bright future ahead. D'Amico Ryans is one of my NFL man crushes. I'll admit that. I love D'Amico. Like I said, former Alabama coach, but I love his passion. I love his mindset. I think Joe Mixon out in Houston is great for that team. So Zach Moss signs with Cincy, meaning Mixon is traded to Houston from Joe Burrow to CJ Stroud. Not a bad landing spot for Joe Mixon. He's got to be excited for it. But it seemed like we were waiting for a couple other dominoes to keep falling in the running back market, like I said, and then boom, we have one happen just now. So exciting news all stream long. Anyways, back to the running backs. I mean, the wide receivers. Look, I got running backs on my mind. Running backs have been taking over free agency, which is crazy. because we don't pay running backs, but here we are signing and trading running backs this offseason. So Gabe Davis, we talked about Calvin Ridley, and there's some missed opportunities with the Jaguars. Gabe Davis, once again, is one of these guys who could be really good. Sometimes he kind of disappears, from the stat sheet. If you're just kind of looking at like the game cast, like, oh, what did Gabe Davis do today? But he's 25 years old, which is nuts. It feels like he's been around for so long. But another one of these guys who is a great vertical threat. Like his route running needs to get a little bit more crisper. He needs to learn to get a little bit more separation in his stem. Release package could get a little bit better. These are fine tunings that I think Gabe Davis can do. Like I said, he's 25. That's great. You talk about wide receivers coming out early. Gabe Davis was one of those guys. You saw some flashes with the Bills. You saw what he could do with Josh Allen from, time to time. This was like fantasy football, like contributors and like insiders, like dream guy. Like Gabe Davis was hyped up so much, and it didn't really live up to the hype. Sometimes it did. Like sometimes he went crazy, and then there was other times where it's like, all right, he has done nothing this game for me. But I think sending him out there to Jacksonville, kind of pretty much replacing Calvin Ridley, it's a good landing spot for him. I think Jacksonville obviously didn't end the season the way that they were hoping for, but they're so much better than what we saw. I think Jacksonville can tap in a little bit more, get a little bit better. Going from Ridley to Davis, I don't know if that does it. But once again, like I said, he's young. He's still got some, great ball ahead of him. I'm not mad at all for the Jaguars on this one. 3-year, $39 million deal is really good. Max value of $50 million. Sounds great. Jordan Schultz for Bleacher Report says free agent pass rusher Shaq Barrett is signing with the Dolphins. So the Dolphins are loading up on their D-line as well. So like I said, there's more dominoes and wide receivers that we're waiting on. Curtis Samuel, Mooney, Osborne, Odell, Boyd. Bourne goes back to the Patriots. And then, of course, Michael Thomas. Hunter Henry is going back to the Patriots. And then Noah Fant is going back to the Seahawks, which kind of hurt me because I really wanted Noah Fant in Washington. But he's going back on a 2-year, $20 million deal. Offensive lineman, I'm going to try to get this going. Like I said, obviously we've had some breaking news going throughout the stream. Hasn't helped at all, but I also talk a lot. Waiting on Tyron Smith. I think, once again, Washington could be on the mix with that. Obviously, Dan Quinn there. Maybe like a little 1-year stopgap at left tackle. Trent Brown, he's had some like weight issues. Like some of his contracts have had like, weight clauses on it. Not ideal. I don't think he goes back to New England. I think he goes elsewhere. Jonah Williams, in my opinion, is a really intriguing one because he can play left tackle, right tackle. This is a guy he's probably going to get like a 3-year deal somewhere. Like I said, maybe even like Washington or somewhere where he could start at left tackle. Cincinnati pretty much forced him to go to right tackle. He wasn't too fond of it, but he still played well there. Jermaine Illuminor went to the Giants. Really good signing for them, honestly. They needed some help as well in that offensive line, which is pretty bad last year. Yosh Nijman for the Packers, one of these young ascending guys that could go somewhere and start. Same with Josh Jones, waiting for him. I think Josh Jones, from what I've heard, is probably going to be signed today. Not going to get too much into that one yet. And then Andres Pete and Donovan Smith still out there as well. Interior offensive line. Mike Onwenu was a guy who, fired his agent. Like he was just representing himself. This was a big name at the beginning of free agency. A lot of teams were talking to him, Washington included. He goes back to the Patriots, which is huge for them. They don't have much going for him, but they got Mike Onwenu coming back. So 3-year, $57 million deal. And then Robert Hunt drops the Brinks truck bag in Carolina and says, hey, Bryce, I'm here to help you out, my guy. But it's going to be a 5-year, $100 million contract with $26.5 million signing bonus, which is wild. But Robert Hunt was phenomenal last year for the Dolphins. Phenomenal. He's only 28 years old as well. So not mad at it at all. That is a big get for the Panthers. Comes with a huge cost, but it's worth it when you have Bryce Young running for his life. This one hurt me as well. Like I said, the Titans needed to load up the line, and they did. Lloyd Cushenberry. Oh, I wanted him so bad. I like Lloyd Cushenberry a lot. 26 years old, and just one of these ascending young, high upside guys. That's something I've been saying a lot this free agency period. Find those guys that are young but are getting into the best ball of their career. And there's still more to come. So you're signing them to 3-year, 4-year, 5-year deals. Like, you don't want to sign some like 30-year-old and then just hope that production stays and then it ends up dropping off after a year or two. And now you're eating cap and you're just stuck with it. 4-year, $50 million contract, $26 million fully guaranteed is a great deal. That is a spot on deal. This is a deal that's not getting talked about enough for the Titans. I'm telling you guys, this is phenomenal. I'm so mad at the Titans for that one. John Simpson goes to the Jets. They need some help on that line. Obviously, blocking for Aaron Rodgers coming back. Andre James stays with the Raiders. Kevin Dotson stays with the Rams. 3-year, $48 million deal. Love both of those. Mitch Morse goes out to Jacksonville. Goes from the Bills to the Jaguars. 2-year, $10.5 million guaranteed. One of these veteran guys. I like this for them as well. Like I said, it's good offensive line play is really hard to find. So it does not surprise me that these offensive linemen were getting paid very well. Connor Williams obviously had that ACL injury waiting. I don't think he'd be back till like middle of the season. So seeing really what that market's like for him, but still he was the best center in the league when he got hurt. Hated that for him. Jonah Jackson, another one of these guys I was keeping a close eye on. He goes to the Rams. I like this Rams team. Steve Avila, one of my draft crushes, seems like he's getting moved to center. I really like this Rams team, and I really like this offensive line. 3-year, $51 million deal for Jonah Jackson. Rams fans should be excited because Matt Stafford's going to have like an hour in the pocket on every single play if he wants it. That offensive line looks really good. Really good. Just the way that they've, been able to rotate, losing some of these veterans and then putting some other guys back in there. Been a great job. Like I just love how the Rams have built late in the draft and how they're doing things. Kevin Zeitler's still out there. John Runyon goes to the Giants as well. Like I said, they had one of the worst offensive lines last year. Dalton Reisner, another one of these guys. Now let's talk about the edge rushers real quick, guys. Who did the Bengals get for Mixon? Texans traded for Mixon. Who did they trade for? Let me see. Waiting on compensation. They haven't said yet, so I'm waiting to see it. And once it comes out, I'll let y'all know. But nothing yet. Just talking about money. How he's due $5.75 million in 2024. Yeah, they haven't said yet. I'm sure y'all will let me know what it is once it come out. But yes, Shaq Barrett to Miami was broken by our own Jordan Schultz. Like I said, shout out to Jordan. Been killing it so far. Edge rushers. Danielle Hunter, veteran guy, but super productive. One of the most productive edge rushers in the NFL the last few years. And like I said, 29 years old. Don't care. Sign him to like a 3-year deal. Probably what he's going to get. And he's just going to go after the quarterback for you. 16.5 sacks last year, which is nuts. Jonathan Grenard, one of my free agent crushes I really liked, goes to the Vikings. Love this for the Vikings. If you're a Vikings fan, Jonathan Grenard is a high motor guy. I loved what he did under DeMeco Ryans. I'm a big Jonathan Grenard fan. Like I said, 27 years old, super young. He is ready to take off. Had a great year, 12.5 sacks on the opposite side of Will Anderson last year. He's going to be really good for Vikings. So Viking fans, great job. You might have lost Kirk, but you got some help on defense. It's a 4-year, $76 million guarantee. Love that deal for them as well. Bryce Huff from Mobile, Alabama, Philadelphia Eagle. It felt like this was going to happen. 3-year, $51.1 million deal. Don't hate it for him. I think once again, Bryce Huff is one of those guys that he wants to show that he can play all 3 downs. It's been those questions, like he's been one of these rotational guys, limited snap count guys. Like, can he just play all the time? But maybe the Eagles, don't have to do that. We'll see. They've been, really active in the trade market for a lot of their guys in the defensive line. But I think Bryce Huff, with Smith, they said they like how he's been developing as well. I think they can kind of get things going back on that line again. But I think it's a good fit. I like Bryce Huff a lot. Like I said, he's one of my guys I was looking at for a while. Chase Young just seems like there really isn't a market for him right now. Really interested to see what happens. There's a punt trade. Punter re-signing Rigoberto Sanchez to return to Indy, and then Naheem Hines is signing a 1-year deal, $3.5 million with the Browns. That's a good fit. I like that for the Browns. Don't know what they're going to do with Nick Chubb. Speaking of the Browns, Zadarius Smith was one of their top priorities to bring back, and he's re-signing with the Browns on a 2-year, $23.5 million deal. Zadarius Smith was great for him last year. He's just one of those veteran guys on that defense. Like, their defense was phenomenal last year. I like this for them. I think their defense is going to be great. Can they get things going on offense? They got my boy Judy. They got Coop. Can Watson live up to that contract? I don't know. Vikings add some more help Andrew Van Ginkel on a really good contract. It was a 2-year, super cheap. I forgot the numbers. It came out. I was like, dang, that's actually really good. 29 years old. He was good for the Dolphins, productive dude. Like I said, the Vikings defense took a big step last year. It looked great. Clowney's still out there. Uche's out there. My Washington Commanders signed Dorrance Armstrong. That was my prediction going into free agency that we were going to sign him. Nailed contract and everything. 3-year deal worth up $45 million. First year's only like $4.8 million, which is great. Once again, one of these guys, young ascending, ready for a bigger role. And he's back with Dan Quinn and Joe Ed Jr. ready to get after the quarterback. So watch out, y'all. We're coming. Marcus Davenport goes to the Lions, and I kind of like this for him too. We knew that they needed someone opposite of Aiden Hutchinson. Marcus Davenport, veteran guy. I don't know. Part of me really wanted them to like draft one because I like this edge rush class a lot. But once again, I don't hate that as well. West Boulevard said since he got 3 bologna sandwiches from Mixon, I doubt it. Bologna sandwiches are underrated, by the way. Oh no, we got some Bird fans in the chat. Y'all, we're just going to ignore them. We're going to let them be themselves in the chat and just talk to each other. It's all good. Just kidding. All love here. No hate until the season starts. Like I said, Shaq Barrett signed with the Dolphins, so he is off. Leonard Floyd, super underrated signing going to the 49ers. 10.5 sacks as a rotational player last year with the Bills. This guy is super productive every year. Super productive, and you don't really hear much about him because it's always like, oh, I wonder when Von Miller's going to play. And I like this for the 49ers. Cleveland Farrell, one of these depth guys, comes over to Washington early this morning. Don't know if they re-sign Chase Young. Maybe they want to get something cheap done, but I don't see it. But getting Floyd in there is really good for them. Like, 49er fans should be hyped for that. Brandon Graham agreed to a 1-year extension with the Eagles. 36 years old. He's getting up there. He's next to go. Agba's still waiting. Obviously, Chiefs, their top priority was re-signing Chris Jones. Got it done. 5-year, $158.75 million deal with $101 million guarantee. Honestly, guys, as of right now, my buddy at work is a giant Chiefs fan, straight out of Kansas City. I told him, like, look, y'all going to the Super Bowl again. Like, we haven't had the draft yet, but like, I'm not even worried about it. But keep an eye on Snead as a tag and trade candidate in the next few days. I think that's what's really holding up the corner market is Snead. What's going to happen there? And then obviously you have like the Kendall Fuller and you have some other corners. We'll get to it here in a second. Wilkins got paid big time yesterday as well. 4-year, $110 million deal, 84.75 guaranteed. Him and Max Crosby. I love that matchup. I like Wilkins, one of those funny dudes, just a goofy guy. I think he fits really well with the Raiders. I'm excited to see how they perform. Especially, like I said, that defensive line is going to be a lot of fun. Him and Crosby, I love it. Big loss for the Dolphins, though. The Dolphins were probably one of like the losers in free agency yesterday. There wasn't a lot of them, but I'd say the Dolphins were definitely one of them. Leonard Williams going back to the Seahawks. What's interesting about this, because I'll talk about Brian Burns. I love Brian Burns. the Seahawks gave up a 2024 second-round pick and a fifth-round pick to get Williams from the Giants, and the Giants pretty much said, we're going to trade a second and a fifth for Brian Burns, but they paid Brian Burns a lot of money. So I'm not mad for both sides. Like this for the Seahawks, and I like this for the Giants because they were able to end up doing the same thing for Brian Burns. Ark Armstead, one of those surprising, release guys before free agency happened. I was like, dang, okay, didn't see that happening. Grover Stewart, DJ Reader, Nico Autry going to the Texans, like that for him as well. They needed some help on that D line. Campbell, he should retire. You got Tart, Daquan Jones re-signs with the Buffalo Bills super late last night. Shout out to my guys at Cover One on breaking that news last night. 2 years, $16 million deal. The Falcons are signing Bears wide receiver Darnell Mooney, giving Kirk Cousins a weapon. So I kind of talked about it when I started the stream, talking about Kirk Cousins, like, hey, let's get some more help. Like, you spend a lot of money, but you're going to have to get some wide receivers, get some cheap options that can come in there with some high upside, and you're going to have to draft some as well. And looks like they're looking to do that. Darnell Mooney, one of those guys that showed like he's got some juice to his game. Falcons still need a safety and a pass rusher. Yes, they should absolutely take Lot 2 or Dallas Turner in the first. Absolutely should. We got some NFC East chats. That's what I like to see. All is right in the world, and we got some NFC East hate going on. The Eagles fans, I see you. He said, talk about us. I see you. Y'all are doing okay so far. Like I said, on paper, it's sexy, but on the field, it's ugly. So we'll wait. Let's go. Washington's winning free agency, in my honest opinion. Yes, we are. We here. It's a new era. Adam Peters, stand up. We here. Let them know we back on top. But like I said, Daquan Jones going back to the Bills is big for them. Then linebacker, we signed the top linebacker in free agency, Frankie Lavu. You're like, who? You'll know who he is. Don't worry. You're going to know. 3-year, $36 million deal, 27 years old, super underrated players. Panther fans are in shambles that they lost Frankie Lavu. And it sounds like Carolina made a late push for him. And Frankie said, no, I want to go to Washington. I want to go play with Dan Quinn and Joe Witt. I like what they're building. Let's go. Washington's winning the Super Bowl. Not yet. Patrick Queen's still out there. I think Seattle's obviously the spot for him to go to. Jordan Brooks is another guy I'm really high on. He goes to the Dolphins. I love that for him. I think that's a great spot for both parties. 26 years old. He was asked to do so much for the Seahawks. They got him on a 3-year, $30 million guaranteed. 3-year, $30 million deal. I'm not sure what the guarantee money is yet. Levante David, one of those guys that could go somewhere in a 1-year gap. Azeez Al-Shaair, another one of my draft crushes. He reunites with D'Amico Ryans. Love that for him. If it wasn't for me, I wanted him to go to Houston. He goes on a 3-year, $34 million deal. Sound like a 1-year, $6 million deal last year. Was great for the Titans, was their leading tackler. And I really liked him with the 49ers, so I'm glad that he's back with D'Amico. Back at a spot that he can just thrive. Him and Christian Harris. Ooh, I like that. The Shaq Barrett deal once again. Excuse me. Drew Tranquil went back to the Chiefs. Like that for them. 3 years, $19 million. Still waiting on, like I said, some of these other guys. Devin White, Bobby Wagner played really great last year, even though he's 34 years old. That's fine. Willie Gay Jr., 26 years old, athletic dude. Has really good range. Josie Jewell. So there's some linebacker names still out there. I like the Blake Cashman one a lot. Once again, it was a big loss for the Texans, but they got their guy with Azeez Al-Shaair. And I like the Blake Cashman. He's going over to Minnesota on a 3-year, $25.5 deal. Just a super reliable guy. Super reliable. Dotson had a great year last year. He's hit or miss, though. He's like either really great or he's like giving up big plays. I don't know if the Bills want to re-sign him, but he's still only 26 years old. So like I said, the corner market was waiting on a couple things. Obviously, the Jarius Sneed, and then Washington, where I'm waiting. I'm with y'all. I don't know what's happening with Kendall Fuller. It sounds like he's at least testing the market. waiting to see what happens. And then Stephon Gilmore, I think once again, Washington could be interested in him, 33 years old, like a 1-year deal somewhere. I'm surprised Kenny Moore hasn't been taken yet. I'm really surprised. I think Kenny Moore is an underrated guy. Awuzie goes to the Titans. Steven Nelson still out there. Christian Fulton, Adoree Jackson, Nixon, Akila Witherspoon, Tre'Davious White. If he can be healthy, it'd be great. Darius Williams goes to the Rams. That's a really good pickup. I know he's only 31, but still, he was so good last year for the Jaguars. So good for them. Like I'm telling you guys, I like this Rams team a lot. Safety, we have Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, waiting to see where he goes. Shout out to my guy Xavier McKinney, headed to the Packers. And he got paid 4 years, $68 million. One of the best young safeties in the league, though. I love X. Super excited for him. It's a great fit for the Packers. If you're a Packers fan, you should be excited about this. Savage, I forgot where he went to. Somewhere down here. Gosh, maybe not. Where did Savage go to? I know Geno Stone went to the Bengals. We're still waiting on Cam Curl. I don't know what's happening with Cam. He gave us the deuces tweet. I don't know what's going on with them. We're waiting. I think Washington just really wanted to see what the market was like for safeties. But you have the McKinney deal, and then you have like the Geno Stone deal, which is really favorable. Blackman's out there. Justin Simmons, if you need a safety, get Justin Simmons. 30 years old. Once again, turnover machine, ball hawk. Love his playmaking ability. And I think he's probably going to go somewhere in like a 3-year deal. Let's see. We're also waiting on T. Higgins to get traded, see where he goes to. So there's a lot of big dominoes still left. Jordan Fuller, another one of these younger options that's super underrated. Jeremy Chin, Geno Stone, number 2 last year in interceptions in the league. I think he had 6. Going to the Bengals on a really good, like I said, really good deal. 2-year, $15 million with $6 million signing bonus. Great. Jordan Whitehead still out there. Gilman re-signs with the Chargers on the 2-year, $11 million deal. Micah Hyde needs to stay healthy. Quandre Diggs, veteran guy. Seahawks, both safeties gone. Get out of here. We're starting over. Then you have special teams. So what am I looking for these last, I'll say, 48 hours? Let me give y'all a headache real quick. Like I said, we've seen plenty of the quarterbacks, go. I think that's pretty much settled. We don't know what's going to happen with Justin Fields. Let me just stop sharing the screen, actually. We don't know what's going to happen with Justin Fields. What's Justin Fields' market? The more that it goes on and the more moves that happen, it's like maybe Justin Fields is just going to stay in Chicago. That does not mean that they're not going to draft Caleb Williams. There is a 99.9% chance that the Bears are drafting Caleb Williams at 1. Like I said, I wish they wouldn't, because I want Washington to bring him home. But I'm telling you guys, it's going to happen. He's going to be a Bear. But what happens to Fields? I don't know. It just sounds like the market's not there. The demand for Fields is not what they thought it was. Pittsburgh, no. The Falcons, no. Raiders with Minshew, I don't know. I don't think so, because you still got to pay him. You ideally have to pay Justin Fields his 5th-year option. Ideally, you have to. We got someone in the chat saying, Mouse Me 0818 says, D. Mooney signed a 3-year, $39 million to the Falcons. Not a bad deal. Once again, a guy that's shown that he can produce. T. Higgins, like I said, we're waiting to see what happens. Thank you so much. Savage went to Jacksonville. That's right. I like that for him. Free agent running back D'Ernest Johnson is returning to the Jaguars. 1-year deal, nothing crazy. So buckle up, guys. The next 24, 48 hours is going to be crazy. These are just, essentially deals that are not done yet. They don't become official until Wednesday. But I don't know. But the crazy thing would be like if someone changed their mind. That'd be nuts. But I don't think it's going to happen. But appreciate y'all joining the stream. Like I said, it's been about 50 minutes now. We've been going. There's a lot to cover. And there was a lot that happened during the stream as well. So appreciate y'all stopping by. Like I said, follow me on X at Josh Taylor FB. Even if you're not a Washington fan, come on over. we can talk all football season, and then follow me here on Bleacher Report. I'll be back with some more streams on Bleacher Report. I appreciate y'all, and I'll see you next time. Enjoy the free agency frenzy, guys.